Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. Sorry I missed you all yesterday. I was actually stuck in the airport at the time that I normally do Facebook Live, so I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday. My Color Me Crazy trip was absolutely phenomenal. It was great. I'm loving what I'm seeing as far as the people wanting to know more about color and being able to really seriously consider putting this into their service menu. I've watched my counterparts from Caucasians to Asians to Italians to Ukrainians. I've worked with some of everyone. I've watched them for years be able to make, really great incomes, not have to work as hard. I've watched them do a lot with this color thing. So I feel it's my responsibility. Hey, morning, Vera. I feel it's my responsibility to kind of carry that torch, kind of bring some of that back into the urban salons and really help us understand how we can take these things that we really do have access to learning how to do and start growing and evolving and doing some stuff. But let me tell you what I want to talk to you about today. Hey Eddie, how are you? Let me tell you what I want to talk to you about. I had a conversation with my assistant when I was in Florida, and it's always, I call them these teachable moments, these moments of hey, how you doing, Lasagna? These moments of basically being able to kind of look deeper into what people are saying, and I always seem to connect it back to something that I've read or something that I've experienced, and it gives me the subject of what I'm going to talk to you about today. So let's talk about following through. Let's talk about that. You know, a lot of people start a lot of stuff. You know, let's just be honest. They start reading a book. They start, hey Brandy, they start a project. They start a job. They start get an idea, and they start that. And we could, if we got paid for every time we start something and don't finish it, I think we all could retire from here. I really believe that. Let's talk about following through. My assistant and I were talking about some things, and we were talking about that, following through. And I mentioned to her, I don't know what the subject was at the time, that someone I was referring to, they just don't follow through. They just don't do it. They don't spend any time, any energy long enough to really see anything mature. And so what I want to talk to you all about today is, when do you know how to or when to abort something? When do you know when you should keep going or when you should possibly say, you know what, this ain't working. Let me just kind of just try something else. When do we know when to do that? When do we know? Let me tell you what I've learned. I personally have never really struggled in that area, but I'll tell you why. Since I have been young, I have pretty much known what I wanted to do. I was a little girl that, when people say about trying to find your purpose, I'm deflecting a little bit. I really believe that our purpose is shown and is revealed when we're young. It's shown when we're young, because see, when you're young and you're a kid, you just do what you love. You do it without thinking, whatever it is. And I was that little girl that would take boxes and make desks out of them, and I only wanted dolls that had hair, which they all were white back then, and I only wanted dolls that have hair so I could hook the hair up, and I would make their faces up, because I've been to school for makeup too. I'd make their faces up, and I'd put these little stick pin balls in their ears, and I would tie they were beautiful. They were hooked up. Hey, Nunu. They were hooked up behind these desks, and I would get every chair in the house, and I would sit the chairs all behind the desk, and I would literally play school, you all. Literally. I would play school with all of these beautified dolls, and I've been doing that since I was little. So, go figure. It's pretty much what I do today. So I've always had this mindset of doing something and doing it hard and doing it, strong until I really feel like there's nowhere else to go with it. So now let me backtrack again. And that's about following your purpose. That's something some of you all may want to do. If you can't figure out what that thing is, you may want to ask some people that knew you when you were young, that could actually tell you what you were always doing naturally. I promise you, it'll take you back to remembering where your first love is, or what we call that internal compass, which I'm gonna get into in a minute. But let me deflect back, because we're gonna talk about purpose one day, maybe tomorrow. Let me talk about following through again. When this is my analogy of when following through has been done and there's nowhere else to go, and it may be time to abort. Okay, you get an idea. You say, you know what, let me start maturing this idea. Now, first off, once you get the idea, you gotta do some research. That's the first thing, guys. Once you get an idea about something, before you just jump off the cliff, you gotta learn a little bit more about it than just surface stuff. Meaning you might have to do some research on it. You might have to do some surveys, maybe scan if it's something that deals with people in a certain area. You may have to have somebody, or you make cold calls, find out, is this the kind of stuff that people want to do? Or if you're already in an industry, or our industry, like let's say you do class like me, you can actually put feelers out there and just start getting some information, basically, about what it is that you say you want to do. So that's the first thing. You get an idea. You got something. Okay, let's first find out a little bit more about it, a little more than just the surface. Then let's get into execution mode. Once you get into execution mode, there are 3 things that you are going to have to put forward to know whether what it is that you're trying to do is really going to work. You're going to have to put some money up somewhere for something. You have to pay for something. Either buy what you need to do it, or or if it's something that requires other people, you're gonna have to foot the tab maybe for them to learn how to do it. Whatever it is, you're gonna buy the book, buy the equipment, you're gonna buy something. Okay? You're gonna buy something. That's right, study, thank you, Nunu. But you're gonna end up spending some money in some kind of way for you to know if this thing is gonna work for you. Okay? Then once you spent the money on buying into whatever this is, then you're gonna have to spend some time with it. You're gonna have to spend, that means even when it ain't producing, even when it's not making you the money that you put out already for it, you're gonna have to give it some time. You're gonna have to put a little bit of time, and really not a little bit, you're gonna put a lot. You're gonna have to put some time into it. Constantly put some time, maybe in different type of arenas, you just really gonna put all kind of ways you can put time, but you're gonna put some time into it. All right, once you put the time into it, then you're going to really be exhausting a lot of energy. And when I say energy, that means if whatever you're doing requires you to start inducting other people, or to start doing things where now it just requires you to expand beyond just, say, standing behind a chair doing hair. Now you're going to have to start really working later hours, or you're going to have to really give up a lot of time on this thing. Okay? What should start happening after you've done your homework, and you're really always learning about it, but do your initial homework. Now you've dedicated the time you're going to spend on it, and you're doing it, and you're exhausting the level of energy that's required. And I mean a level of excellence in energy. I don't mean just half doing it. I mean real energy, happy about it even when you don't feel like doing it, but real energy. You're going to do that for a while, and you should start seeing something happening. Something. It may not be happening at the level that you want, but you should start seeing something happening. Now, once you start seeing something happening, that's when, believe it or not, guys, you start this process all over again. Because what happens is, once you start seeing stuff happening, then you have to learn more about what you see. It's just like, I'll give you an analogy using myself. People have been asking me to do mentor programs since I can remember. And I ran from mentorship. I'm like, I don't even know what that is really, and I don't know what they expected. So when I accepted the call to do that, I said, okay, I'm going to do what I think is mentorship. And I did that a little bit, and then I got a few mentees, well, first, before I did it, let me backtrack. I did some research. I started reading books, going online, seeing what mentor programs look like. Like, okay, what is that? That was my study and my research. What do people think? What do they expect when they say it's a mentee-mentor relationship? Well, what does that mean? I started doing a lot of research on that to learn how that fit with me and my personality and all of that. So I did the study. Then I started spending money, buying more books, actually becoming mentored in different programs myself so I can see what it looks like on the other side. So this way, and I spent a lot of money, y'all. This is where the money started going, and, you know, buying into John Maxwell's program, which, by the way, ain't cheap. You know, so I started spending money into these areas, and then I got me some mentees. So now I'm in action mode. I'm spending time trying to do it. And guess what's happening? As I'm spending the time trying to do it, and I get all these different people, they're teaching me some stuff. They're teaching me that I need this and I need that, you know, without even knowing they're teaching me. So now I got to go back and research some more. I'm like, oh, okay. Now I know I need this. So you get what I'm saying? It just took me back to the table. It just took me back. I got to study some more, because now I got to take it from this level to that level. And then I got to spend some more money. And then I got to spend some more time. And then I got to spend some more energy. This will continually be the cycle that you will go through when you come up with an idea that you want to do something with. Let me tell you what happens to a lot of us, though. As you do this repeatedly, study, research, time, or money next, and then time, money, time, energy, actually 4 of them, you're going to find it to become more challenging every cycle that you go through with this process, because you're gonna have to learn more. You're gonna have to go deeper with your learning, and the expectations of you also start being raised, because people start viewing you in a different light. People have different expectations, and now you gotta meet them. You really gotta beat them. You gotta surpass the expectations. Let me tell you what happens with a lot of us, why we don't get to where we're trying to go. Because as that cycle grows, as that thing needs to be nurtured more and more, it's like raising a child. As that thing gets nurtured more and more, at some point when it gets too hard, we check out. We like, you know what, I'm tired, I don't want to do all this, or something. Or better yet, we become unfocused. We become unfocused. That's what also starts to happen. I was listening to Dale Bronner, Bishop Dale Bronner, who's one of the Bronner brothers. The other day, he had a YouTube video of one of the sermons he was doing, and he was talking about how distractions can destroy your life. That's what he talked about, and it was excellent. And distractions, if you're not careful, all of this you put in, all the research you did, all the money you spent, all the time you spent, all the energy you spent, I have seen people at the height of when something is working. It's something called momentum. At the height of when it's working, they abort it and go do something else. You're going to have to do the same thing with that. It's not going to change. You're going to do the same thing with that you did with that other thing. And all that's going to happen is you're going to have a whole bunch of stuff out there, and nothing's going to be finished because you didn't follow through with anything. That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you guys, I see it time and time and time again. And it breaks my heart when I see somebody doing something that's working, and then all of a sudden it's like, why did you stop? It was working. But you know what? Every cycle of it working is going to require more of us. It's going to require more of us, guys. That's just a reality. You're going to do something that's going to be good. What it should do is inspire you to do more, not make you backtrack. And you do have to be careful. Life, you know, something called life that we all go through can be a distraction. But let me tell you what you have to learn how to do even about life stuff. We have got to learn, and this is another book I read forever ago. It's by Joyce Myers. It's called How to Manage Your Emotions. Your emotions, if you let them, it'll take you all off course. We have got to learn the discipline between when to turn it on and when to turn it off. You may have to go in there and do what it is that you do. And if you got going through something, you're like, okay, I need to cry, but I can't cry right now. I can't cry right now. I got to do, you too far in. You got too much money in, too much time in, too much research in to keep throwing stuff away. You reading it now, Allison? Ain't it good, girl? That's my baby. That's one of my mentees there. It is about managing your emotions. You need to become the person that when people are dealing with you or approaching you, you as even as you could be 99% of the times. None of us is perfect. But you need to practice being even as far as in your emotions. They will literally get you all. Emotions can become a distraction. People that are not understanding your vision can become a distraction. And this is another thing. Don't share your vision with everybody. Don't share what it is that you got going on with everybody. You cannot do that. Some people, you need to tell them when it's in motion. Just let them watch it. Because some people, you already know they dream killers. And if you got dream killers around you, they can be the distraction that keeps you from following through. They can. I know a lot of people that are literally, they got some of the best ideas I've ever seen, and they're working them. They've put the money in. They've done the homework. They got the people, and they just stop. It's like, why did you do that? Why did you stop? Stop why? And sometimes it happens when it ain't even life stuff. It's just, they just don't want to go through. God, let me tell y'all something. Success costs. Dreams cost. You gonna do it when you feel like it. You gonna do it when you don't feel like it. But if you don't follow through on something, you're never going to get to the maturity of it. You're never gonna birth that baby. You're gonna be just pregnant forever. And I've never actually bore a child, but for those that you are listening to me that actually have had children, could you imagine being pregnant for like 5 years? Could you imagine that? Don't y'all be happy when that baby finally comes out? Y'all be waiting. That last 2 months, you ready. That is what these things that we birth are like. They require something. They require for us, just like when you're pregnant, you got to eat right. You can't smoke. You can't drink. There are things you got to do. And as you're doing those things, the goal is to birth a healthy baby. And guess what, guys? Once the baby here, you got to do it all over again. Because now you got to raise that baby. When the baby is 5 years old, you got to raise them this way. Then when they get teenagers, you got to start back on. Okay, how do I fool with this teenager? Now I got to do that. All the way to the day they die. Okay? This is what following through is about, guys. You can't quit. The one thing I will say, we all have been watching what's going on with Donald Trump. And Lord, I'm just going to pray for him and this country. But the one thing he has said back before he was president is that just don't quit. I don't care. That's the one thing I agree with, is he's always stated before he was actually president is, I don't care what you do. I don't care how bad it gets. You can't quit. Now, let's talk about when it is okay to abort something. When you have done all of that I just said, and you've done it for years, and you've done it for, endlessly, and you've spent endless money, and you've spent endless time, there is a time that you may need to sit back and say, okay, let me look at what it is that I'm doing, and let me make this make sense. That's when you literally got to sit and reflect. You say, okay, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars. I've spent time that I can't even count. I've done everything possible. And you literally have to be honest with yourself and say, is there anything more that I can do to make this better? If you can honestly say to yourself, no, then it may be time to shift. But you got to be honest with yourself. If you know you haven't done all that you can, and you know you haven't done the research and stayed current with what's going on and this and that and the other, and you haven't spent any time with getting the people and nurturing this thing, then if you check out, you're just going to lose out. That's right. What did my friend Eddie say? You have to nurture like a mother, protect that. Like a mother, I can't read Eddie. I got my new glasses on. I still can't read. You all read Eddie Natalie Spencer. That's actually my guy. We're doing a Color Me Crazy tour, and we're going to nurture this thing. This is where we're going from city to city. We got 10 cities. And we're going to go all over the place. And we're going to get black stylists to start embracing color. That's what we're going to do. And we're committed to this journey. Even though we know some of y'all, we might get 5 people at first class, 3. It's okay. Because we've assessed the market. We've decided we gonna put some money into this. We gonna put some time into it, and we gonna do it. And if for whatever reason we see that the way we've structured it, it ain't necessarily working that way, we not gonna abandon it. We just gonna change it up a little bit, and that's what we gonna do. So I'm gonna be in Atlanta, y'all, October 8th. I'm gonna be doing one of the modules out of the Color Me Crazy. You all go on Eddie Natalie Spencer. You'll see it in the Facebook post. Go on. Click that and he'll give you the information on where you can buy tickets. Okay? But that's what I'm doing. That's my new baby. That's my new baby. Okay? But we're not following through, guys. We're not following through. My assistant told me when I was in Florida, she admitted it. She said, I'm not good with that. I'm not good with following through. And I told her the same thing. I said, you'll never see the sun if you don't get through the night. You'll never see the sun. It'll just be dark forever. It'll just be dark forever. The sun will never come up. You gotta give things time to be nurtured. You gotta give them time to actually become something. You got to give them time. Whose city will be included? What about yours? There you go, Eddie. I wish I had my flyer in front of me. I know we're gonna be in Atlanta. Where else we going to be, Eddie? You got the flyer in front of you. Eddie, if you get a chance, type up the cities. I know it's South Carolina with Vera, my friend over there, Vera Thomas. We got Chicago. We got Nashville. We got Little Rock. We have, I can't remember the rest of them. Oh, Memphis. We're going to be in Memphis. So we're going to be all over. And, guys, I just want you to know, for those of you all that are stylists, that are interested in coming to this new baby, Color Me Crazy, the movement that we've birthed, we go into talks like this. It's hair, definitely. I realized a long time ago that God gave me the platform, and it was bigger than just hair. Hair is the thing that I do. But growing people and maturing people and providing resource and direction is who I am. That's who I am. Hair is just what I do. Okay? And so it's inevitable for me to include those two things in a program because I think they're necessary to changing, even in terms of just from a service standpoint. Because there's a mind shift, there's a paradigm shift that has to happen when you're doing anything. You got to change the way you think. There's another little book that I want you all to read. If somebody could type this up so everybody can remember it. I first started reading John Maxwell's books when I was stuck in the airport. I think I was in Florida again, in Orlando, and I just needed something to do. And I read his first book, well, not his first book, but my first book with him, called How Successful People Think. And it literally, and that was forever ago. It was probably when he wrote the book. And it changed my entire mindset about how to approach change, because all of us want to be successful. Every single one of us want to be successful. We're not going to get there, guys, if we don't follow through. I don't care what it is. You'll have a shelf with a bunch of half-read books, okay? And let me give you one more book that I'm reading right now, because you know we about to sign off in a little bit, guys. I'm stuck in a little traffic, which is good, because the place don't open for about 40 minutes, so it's okay. There's a book I'm also reading. Somebody, Vera, put this up for me if you can think of it. If you can write it down, I mean. It's called True North. My client gave it to me. She's an administrator of a huge church, and she was reading it. And she said, Nikki, you really need to read this book. It's by Bill George. It's called True North. This book, it's so good, I have to go back and read it again. And I got audiobooks too. And what it talks about is all of us have this internal compass. Every single one of us. But we got to learn how to follow it. We got to learn how to follow it. I'm going to give you this story. And y'all know I got my drugs, right? Y'all know I got my drugs of choice. It talked about Howard Schultz, who was the CEO and one of the founders of Starbucks. And it talked about his childhood. And he didn't have the best childhood. He had parents that were really poor. And his father was just never a happy man because he worked jobs. None of them made more than $20,000 a year ever. He worked jobs where he was always being mistreated, and he just was never happy. So this young boy, Howard Schultz, who's now a billionaire, he actually grew up seeing this, and his father, I guess, wasn't so nice of a person, and he had a lot of resentment for his father, because he realized even young, though, that his father's anger and his father's whole way of being was because he was on jobs. He felt like he was mistreated all the time, and he was just never happy because of that. So what the book talks about is how our life experiences literally navigate that internal compass. So I'm paraphrasing all the other things that it talked about, but it talked about how when he, and it was some other guys, they were professors and all that, they came up with the Starbucks thing, and there's a whole story behind that, but he made it his business that he was going to create a business that valued and that took care of the people that worked for him. He made it his business. Everything he had, and of course he had some failures in the middle, he said, I'm going to make sure that when people come to my place of business, that it makes them happy, that it makes them want to come here, that they no longer feel like the jobs aren't treating them the way that they do. And he established his entire business culture, and we see it still today. Starbucks got the nicest people on the planet in it. Between them and the Apple Store, they got the nicest people ever, and we know everybody is just not that nice. I love Starbucks more for the culture than the drink. It's tea, y'all. I drink tried tea. It ain't nothing that special, but I love the culture. And his internal compass, no matter what else he tried to do, his life experience kept drawing him in that direction until he built a business that literally was what's the word I'm looking for? Was literally creating the bridge between what he didn't want to see to what he did want to see. We all have an internal compass, and in your following through, you need to let me back up a minute. How many of us, no matter what we do, we always get drawn back into something else? I'm sure a lot of you all could attest to that. I don't care what you try to do. It could be off the beaten path of what you've been doing, and you always get pulled back in to something else. You just always get sucked back into this certain thing. Your internal compass will continually try to navigate you naturally back into the thing that you were really born to do. It will constantly do it. So a lot of times, I also believe we're not following through because we really don't want to do it anyway. It's like, I hear people say this, and don't get me wrong, I understand the financial dynamics of when clients don't show up, of when whatever is happening and your money isn't right. And I hear people who love hair, they love it. They eat, sleep, and drink it, and they say, I just got to go get me a job. I'm going to go work at the post office. I'm going to go work here. I'm going to go work there. And they end up quitting because your internal compass won't let you stay over there long enough because it isn't what you really want to do. Now, don't get me wrong. We all got to do what we got to do. But your internal compass will always draw you back in some kind of way, or you're going to be very disgruntled and unhappy. And that is also some of the times why we're not following through, because we're in things or doing things we ain't never had no business doing in the first place. Instead of putting so much energy into doing something else, put more energy in following through with the thing you already did invested your time, energy, and money into. There are ways to get over the hump even when you can't see it. Start asking people. Start incorporating, do stuff. Reinvent yourself. It's always... Our business gives us 1,000 directions to go. Start working for I do dead people's hair. I go to the nursing home. There are too many things, almost like a nurse. There's 1,000 things that you can do that keep you within your field. You didn't pay too much for school. You didn't pay too much, especially a salon owner. You didn't invest in a shop. You didn't invest in this. Okay, maybe this direction isn't working. Did you spend your time there? Did you research? Did you spend your time, spend your money, your energy? Did you do all that? Then, okay. Just because it ain't working don't mean you got to go with something that has nothing to do with what you've already invested in. Just go another direction. Branch off. Even a tree got 1,000 branches in one base. You could still have one base and a bunch of trees, bunch of branches going 1,000 different directions. But they all connected at the bottom. Okay? This is what we got to do, you all. This is what we have to do. You know, and so following through, that's the word for today, y'all. Following through is something you're not going to get around it. You know, it almost is the grass ain't green on the other side. It's almost that same concept. You got to follow through. Follow through until you say, I done everything I can and I'm done. People often ask me, and I'm about to go off in a minute. People often ask me, how did I get to the place that I'm doing all the stuff that I'm doing and all the choices that I have? And I get people that come right out of school that are talking about they want to teach. And this, you know what I tell them? First of all, accomplishing anything requires steps. It requires stages. You know, Steve Harvey says it best. He says, success is not on the elevator. You must take the stairs. Period. You got to take the stairs. You're going to walk this thing. When you get tired, you sit on the step, catch your breath, and keep moving. Just don't go back down. Okay? Just don't go back down. That's the thing. But when people ask me that, they come straight out of school, you know what I tell them? Have you ever even been in a shop yet? Have you worked in a shop long enough to even know what it is? Master your chair first. That's what you do. Quit walking out of here like I'm going to just go be the boss. I'm going to go be the owner. I'm going to go start teaching. You haven't even gotten a feel for what the industry is about. You don't even understand how people work, how people think, how you got to learn how to maneuver and manage difficult people in difficult situations. And we don't want to go through nothing. And, you know, that's a different group of people too. You know, we got the millennials, the centennials, the Generation X. I'm gonna get into that one day too and break down these generations and their different thought processes, so you all know when you're dealing with them why they think the way they do. Okay, that's another day. But this is something that I tell people: you got to take the steps to following through. You got to learn the lessons. You got to be willing to put the time in until you say, I'm done. I've mastered this. There ain't nothing else that I could do. Now it's time for me to do something else. Just branch off. Don't cut it off. Branch off. As Vera just said, you know, a tree. Look at a tree. I want y'all, wherever y'all going today, just look at a tree. See if you could even count the branches on the tree. Just try. You know, just look at it. Say, it's about 100 branches. I'm looking at trees as I'm on this expressway. It's about 100 branches on one tree. 100 branches. Can I count? But it's still one tree. It's one tree, y'all. So following through, or when something even isn't going perfectly, it's called diversify. I'm surprised my friend Eddie didn't give me that word. You got to diversify. People have very diversified portfolios of investments and all this other stuff, but it's still one person. It's still money going to all one source. Look, I'm going to say this, then I'm getting off. I called PayPal the other day. That's who I use for my merchant processing. And I didn't even know they did. I love PayPal, y'all. I do, for many reasons. But I'm getting ready to I have an LLC, and I'm getting ready to open some other businesses, and I didn't want to establish a whole nother legal structure. So I know what LLC series are, but they're not available in every state. So I found out LLC, a series, is recognized in my state. So I wanted to know, because I didn't want to establish a whole nother merchant processing system. I wanted to be able to have different series, which means you have a parent company, then you have branches, or you have subsidiaries of that company, but they all are under the same umbrella, even though they all have their own identity. Totally, so one ain't got nothing to do with the other, but they're all under the same parent company. So I said, let me call PayPal and see if they do that. If I could have everything still fall under my LLC, or do I have to establish different EINs and you know, kind of against what I'm trying to do. PayPal told me, they said just as good. They said, oh yeah, we do that. We have people that do that all the time. They have one parent company. They have 20 companies under it. They all different, but they all filter to one source. They all settle out in one spot. I said, that's why I love y'all. So that's what I did. I set them up, and now I got everything filtering out of one source. So all I've done, guys, is I've expanded. I've just expanded. I don't want to change. I'm still following through, but I mastered this thing over here. This thing is working now. I done matured this baby. This baby is growing up, and this baby is doing what I've taught it to do. So I don't have to wipe its nose no more, and I don't have to put diapers on it no more. I now can just watch it grow. So now I got these other things that I'm getting ready to mature, and I got to do the research. But I want them all still connected to the same tree. Okay? My battery's going dead, y'all. So you all got what I'm saying? But look, I'm way over time, y'all. Y'all lucky I'm in traffic. because I would have had to go, but I'm in crazy traffic going towards our big airport. But you all follow through. I don't want to hear nobody. Next time I see any of y'all or talk to y'all, and again, knowledgebynikki.com. And guess what I'm going to give y'all, guys? Y'all know I got a lot of phones, right? If you all need to text me first, you can text me. Now, I don't have that phone with me right now, but you can text me at 708-798-7900. Somebody put that number up. 708-798-7900. I've had that number since 92. You all text me there. If you got some questions, I'll call you back. I do call people back, y'all. I have a day. I just sit and I make phone calls. I'm like, okay. Now, I don't have that phone with me right now, but y'all still text. I thought I had it, but I didn't bring it. So when I get back home, which I got to go, thank you, Vera. You all text me at that phone number if you need some questions, you need some help. I do have a mentor program that I'm launching next year called Stretch. It's an acronym. We'll get into that later. But I want us to be better, guys. Next time I see you, if you come and complain to me or if you text me and say something ain't working for you, I'm going to ask you, what have you done? I'm going to ask you, have you studied it? Have you researched it? I'm going to ask you how much time you put in it. And I'm going to ask you how much money you've invested in it. If you can't answer those 3 questions, then I'm going to tell you, I'll help you when you first do what you know to do. It's almost like losing weight. You know why I don't buy into a bunch of programs anymore about, they work now, because before I buy into anything else, I'm going to first do what I know to do, which is quit eating this, quit eating that. Until I'm willing to do that, I don't need anybody to tell me what not to do. I need you to tell me what to do. So the first thing I need to do to make myself successful in something is do what I know and then ask for help. That's exactly what I'm going to tell you if you ask me. So I'm getting ready to go, y'all. I'm almost at my destination. Peace out. See you tomorrow. Vera, I'm going to call you later. I got to ask you something. And Eddie, I'm going to call you too. So I'll see you all tomorrow, 7 a.m. Later, Gators.